Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter and this is James.
Hello there.
And today we're talking about Volume 4 of Kaiju number 8. This was such an action-packed volume and
It really was.
also very, the story definitely went forward or moved forward in ways that I was very happy with. I guess as far as my words before we get into the character discussions is just that I love this volume and I'm excited to talk about it. What about you?
Yeah, I guess I'll say that it was action packed and that made the pages fly.
Yes.
I don't know if the chapters were shorter, if the volume in general was shorter, but it just felt like, I had just started reading it, then it was over. I was like, wait, not yet. Like we're just getting to the good stuff.
Right. And I mean, I agree completely. And since I have the physical books, just looking at like the thickness of it looks like the same as the others. So I'm pretty sure it's just the fact that there's so much action in it that you just kind of fly through the pages because I experienced that as well.
And really good action too.
Mm-hmm.
Just well paneled and drawn. Just really good stuff.
For sure. Very well. Then let's talk about Kafka Hibino to kick this off. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we did see a little bit of him doing the partial transformation in the previous volume, or am I making that up?
I'm pretty sure I could be wrong as well. It's been a long time since we
been a little
covered Volume 3. But if I remember correctly, he had started to experiment with the partial transformation and he was still trying to get used to it.
Precisely, yeah. That's what I recall as well.
Probably as far back as Volume 1, to be honest.
You think? I mean, maybe.
Because I remember one time he was like resting on like a kaiju dead body, and then Ichikawa comes up to him and is like, "Hey, we got our test exams back." And then he transforms his face like he was I don't know. I don't know if that was what he was doing or not.
Right. Well, that is a fair point though. That's somehow tied to this. But anyway,
sorry.
We did get to see some more of that in this volume, how he just transforms partially, and I kind of loved how at the beginning of the volume he used this partial transformation in order to hide or to keep his kaiju form a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas by the end of the volume, he's only partially transforming in order to prove that he's a human, or in hopes of proving that he's a human. So I think it's fun how he does it for two very different reasons at the start and at the end of the volume here.
It's also nice to see his progression in being able to do it so flawlessly.
Yeah.
I do think he kind of struggled with it before. So it's cool to see him come as far as he has in terms of understanding his newfound powers. And probably pretty good timing too, because he is really in over his head by the end of the volume.
He really is. But his secret finally came out about him being a kaiju, or at least having a kaiju form. I guess it's hard to exactly say because right now he's trying to prove that he's not a kaiju, but he does have a form that is a kaiju. So I guess we don't know everything, but I thought the moment when the reveal came, the reveal for the majority of the characters, was a moment that I had been waiting for quite a while. But man, it was so good. It was definitely worthy of this. How he did it really to save everybody's lives, and it was awesome.
Well, a couple of things about that. It really helped establish his relationship with the Squad 3.
Yeah.
And that they trust him and they have his back.
Yeah.
Which I loved.
That was so wholesome and nice.
Yeah, it was super wholesome. I like how we also see what has happened to the little kaiju that he swallowed, or that went down his throat, I guess you should say. It looks like it's replaced his heart and become a core.
I didn't actually connect that was that little kaiju, but I guess it is.
I guess that's what I assumed, just because what else could it have been? Because they do say his heart is now a core.
Exactly. Which is probably going to make it difficult to prove that he is human. if he is human.
Right.
Because when I saw this, or when I got to that part in this volume where it was revealed that, or well, at least supposedly his heart is actually like a kaiju core, then yeah, as I said, I didn't consider the fact that it might be that little kaiju, which I think is definitely a good possibility though. Instead, I just imagined that his heart was always like that, and that would
I didn't
give
even think about that.
that would give some more credibility to my theory about Kafka actually being a kaiju originally.
Dude.
Though, I having heard your idea there, I kind of feel like that makes a little more sense though, considering that little kaiju did after all go into him, and this would explain kind of what became of it.
Right. No, you have a point. That theory is definitely still on the table.
I suppose so, yeah.
I mean, and I think it's one that I think we both kind of thought would be really cool if that ends up being the case. But I'll be honest, when I did reread this, that didn't come to mind. It was my thought was, oh, the little guy replaced his heart somehow.
Yeah, or like if it is the little kaiju, then well, yeah, replacing the heart, I guess, or having maybe just like covered over the heart, like kind of embraced it so that it's completely covering the heart or something.
Maybe something like that, yeah.
But I don't know.
I remember when I first read this, I thought that the reveal to Squad 3 that Kafka's a kaiju just kind of came suddenly and was honestly a lot sooner than I thought it would be in the story. I thought they were going to milk this hiding his transformation for longer.
I see.
And I actually was really impressed, or maybe impressed not the right word. I was pleasantly surprised that they had done it quickly. And I was like, I think that's kind of bold. Like, I feel some other shonen type of stories would have dragged it out as long as they could, potentially. Him keeping it a secret. I feel like that's somewhat of a superhero trope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true actually. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I guess I shouldn't name any names because that would spoil stuff. But the thing that I was comparing this to has the reveal quite early, so I was constantly expecting this to happen kind of at any moment. So to me, it almost felt like they dragged it out. So that's kind of interesting.
Interesting.
But I loved the moment when it happened, and I think it was a good length for the wait for it.
Yeah, I especially after the reread, I agree. It was a good place. I'm not gonna agree with it taking too long. I honestly think it was just in a right and a place that I thought was kind of creative, for at least for what I've read.
Nice. But in that scene when he just saved everybody's lives and he's just standing there after he punched the thing away, or well, yeah, whatever, yeah. I love the design in how his kaiju face is just all cracked and you can see his human face underneath. That looks so freaking awesome. I love that.
It does.
And it's not something I expected would, I guess, be possible to happen, because I just assumed his entire body, like, through and through, morphed into the kaiju. But supposedly his human face is underneath that kaiju face. So I think that's really interesting, this design thing or gimmick thing or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And I think it's a bit of a symbolism for who he is. Like, on the outside, he may look like a kaiju, but on the inside, he's truly is human. At least that's what I want to think the author might be trying to understand. I mean, that's something what Kafka wants people to understand, is that he's human. Obviously, we're thinking that maybe he could have some kaiju background that no one knows about yet. But I still am giving him the benefit of the doubt that he is actually human, and I hope he's able to prove that in some way.
Right. I like the way you interpreted the like a human face within the kaiju phase,
Yeah.
And it definitely works along the lines, if he actually is human fully or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then definitely I really like the symbolism of that. But since I can't quite let go of the idea that he might be a kaiju more so, or
Uh-huh.
originally, or whatever, uh, I I guess the way I interpreted the cracked face thing was just that it,
Mm-hmm.
it, it shows both sides of him. Like, it shows
Okay.
both
Yeah, yeah.
part of the human and part of the kaiju face at the same
That's
time.
another thing. Yeah.
But regardless, yeah, the imagery there is amazing, I think.
It's really nice. And I like how it's him and Mina
Yeah.
kind of looking at each other, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, man, this was a good volume for their relationship. Not I mean, not as far as I wanted to go, but
Hmm.
definitely some good little steps I felt like.
Definitely was.
I guess speaking about that, he gets really emotional about the goal of standing by Mina's side and
Yeah.
you know hoping that that dream isn't dashed after his secret's been out. And we'll talk about her response later, but it's nice to see. I don't know. I mean, it makes sense why he would be emotional about that, but a lot of the times guys who are in their 30s or whatever having dreams like that and really getting caught up in the moment and upset, that's usually not something you not want to see, but you don't see because we're supposed to be impervious to that kind of stuff and
Hmm.
hardened veterans or whatever.
Right.
But here he just shows visible frustration, and kind of anxiety of having his chances dashed just like that potentially.
Right. Yeah, no, but I agree. I think it's great to, well, yeah, to have a character like him actually just really show his vulnerability like that. I think that's
Yeah,
important to display those sides in these types of characters as well.
yeah.
I am a little bit worried about him now, seeing the final page of this volume just being completely gut punched by the
Oh my gosh.
arms of those that they made out of that kaiju number 2. Like, that does not look pleasant.
You know, for the most part, he hasn't really been getting his butt kicked throughout this story. I mean,
True.
when he's transformed, for the most part, he's the one doing the butt kicking, and he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of been OP in a way and whatnot. But now he's on the ropes here. Like,
Mm.
granted, I don't remember. Did he transform at the? Was he fully transformed at the end there, or was he
No,
still
he's
partially?
still just partially. He has the teeth, but
That's
like,
right.
other than the teeth, his face is still human.
So he hasn't fully gone. He's still like partially transformed. So it's like he's not fighting for real. But still,
Mm.
this is the most he's gotten um, schooled in fighting in this entire series. And
It yeah, but another reason why he's probably why he is getting his ass handed to him the way, as majorly as he is
uh,
probably also because he's not actually fighting back. If he was
right,
trying to fight
exactly.
back, I think he would have done better, obviously. But yeah, no, this is rough right now.
Yeah,
But he'll regenerate.
thank goodness.
Do you want to move on to Mina Ashiro?
Sure.
I thought it was really cute to see how, like, her tiger Bako acts like as a support for her when she fires her rifle.
Yeah,
Like, she gets to, like, lean back on it so that she doesn't, like, recoil back. I
right.
love that.
I had wondered what the point of Bucko was. The tiger's like,
Mm.
what? Why do you have this? But now it makes sense, or it. I mean, makes sense. Maybe not the right word, but there is a reason for it. It's like, oh, okay, you
Yeah.
know, a nice soft cushion for her recoil, whatever. Yeah,
Mm.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I like it a lot. We also get to really, really see how great of a combo she and Soshiro are in
Oh,
combat.
so awesome.
Like, yeah, that was really, really awesome. And we also understand really how glad she is to have him as her vice captain. Like, she
Right.
really, really appreciates having him around, uh, doing what he's doing. And when that was made that clear, it made me feel like there's kind of no way for Kafka to replace Soshiro in that exact position unless Soshiro would die at any point. I,
Uh,
I believe Kafka could probably still fight by her side. He doesn't have to be her vice captain necessarily.
well, I mean,
Like that's kind of been what he's been striving toward so far, but I believe he
uh-huh,
can find a different place by her side. So he doesn't. I don't think he will necessarily need to replace Soshiro.
fair. But also, I think in terms of close combat, he still has that edge. I mean, sure, he's not fighting with a sword, but
Mm.
he's still able to take care of the kaiju and the smaller kaiju
Mm.
um, that Mina seems to not be as good at.
Yeah.
Um,
True.
at least that's what it implied. So I feel like there's still a place. Not to say that that means he should be replacing uh, Hoshina, but I do think that um, they can fill similar roles. Who knows? Maybe Hoshina will become a captain instead of a vice captain,
Oh yeah, I guess so.
and
Uh,
or
but
Kafka
he
come in.
right, but Soshiro and Mina seem to like that they are so in sync and they are such really perfect like
Yeah,
combatants like
absolutely.
cooperating like that
Hmm.
I don't know, even if she and Kafka would go back to being on good terms again, I and even if he matches or maybe even surpasses Soshiro in like close combat capabilities, I still think it's hard for him to match just the sheer just like sync and cooperation that Soshiro and Mina have
Hmm.
in combat like this. I don't know.
Who knows? You could always improve.
Uh, True. That is very true. Um, but I do think she felt very betrayed when she learned about Kafka's kaiju powers.
Absolutely.
Like
Hmm.
she is professional enough to take care of him, or well, to take him into custody like she did. Um,
Hmm.
and she is very, as I said, just yeah, she feels betrayed. But I was still, as we saw happen, like I knew she wouldn't actually oppose him, or
Hmm.
I felt very strongly about that anyway. Which I was glad that actually was the case here. I got slightly worried initially when I saw like just that stern kind of expression of hers and how she
Right.
just initially took him in like that. But yeah, she wouldn't actually like fight him or want to kill him or want anything bad to happen to him. So that was super sweet. And really the scene we got with them talking there, it's obviously more than we've gotten so far, I believe. Um,
Yeah.
but still, as you said also earlier, it's not enough. It's still not enough. We still need more.
No.
But really, because I believe she and Kafka, they just need some downtime together, like just to relax and catch up properly. That's what they need, uh,
Yeah,
in order for I think for things to really start to improve between the two of them. I think.
I agree. I think that it would help to go over their backstory a little bit more as well. I mean, because we
Yeah.
only get snippets of it, so it would
Mm.
be nice to see, what kind of tragedy they experienced. Um,
Mm.
maybe a little bit more of their childhood, in that way. But yeah, I don't think it's enough so far, and I don't know what else they can or how you do it because having this intimate alone time in the vehicle could have been, or intimate's the wrong word, but one-on-one time at least
Yeah.
in that vehicle could have been a good opportunity to do so. But I guess she's still on the clock, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And who knows who's watching? She wants to make sure she has the the respect of everything.
Mm.
And it's a lot for her to process because, like you said, I do feel like she felt betrayed. I kind of did I have you going in our previous discussions about how she would react to uh Kafka's things,
I mean,
Kafka's secret.
it definitely made an impact. The fact that you brought up the idea of her maybe wanting to go as far as to kill him for being a kaiju, because she is after
Uh-huh.
all a kaiju hunter,
Yeah.
kaiju killer. Definitely, though, as I believe I said when we talked about it, I didn't think she would go that far.
No,
Um,
yeah, you
so
kept your guns.
I, which I'm glad I did, but
Yeah, no.
still, you definitely got me thinking about it, and so when it just started at the yeah in this volume here, I figured like, oh shit, is she gonna start to actually oppose him here? So it did get me a little worried.
That was a thought I had when I first read it.
Mm,
I wondered if her devotion to hunting kaiju would have outweighed her judgment,
yeah.
that she cares for Kafka. But
Mm,
at least based on this, it seems like she's able to still keep a somewhat clear mind.
yeah.
Um, Although I will say, when Kafka asks if he can still be at her side, her answer is sure, I'll be waiting.
Yeah.
It's a good answer, and I feel like there's like a slight smile in her on her
Yeah.
face when she replies back, but it does feel maybe either hesitation or maybe a tad bit hurt about it.
I think she is still hurt. Like the
Yeah,
betrayal. I think she still feels that.
yeah.
So she is gonna have to maybe either let some time pass for that to heal, or work
Mm-hmm.
on it some other way. But yeah, I do
Mm-hmm.
think that still exists. Though, yeah, as you said, like she is still clear-minded enough, I guess,
Yeah,
to actually recognize that this is Kafka, this is her childhood friend, and
right.
not some villain, you know.
And to her credit, she's also wanting him to prove that he's human.
Yeah,
She, it seems like she wants him to do that at headquarters. So
precisely.
at the very least, that's what she wants the outcome to be, and not him killed. From what we understand. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's my thing, and I like the moment that they had in the car.
Yeah.
Could have, should have been more, but um,
We'll get something eventually.
it's kind of a tease.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I'm enjoying the tease.
Yeah.
Anything else on Mina?
Just story wise, she announces the transfer of rookies to different squads.
Right.
I don't know what exactly that's going to do to the story. Maybe, Ichikawa will get interesting training somewhere, or
Right.
maybe they'll meet up with Kafka elsewhere. But it does seem like, for the time being, Squad 3 may split up.
Exactly. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I hope.
Yeah.
Very well. Let's talk a bit about Kikoru Shinomiya next. She and Reno really are working really well alongside each other on the battlefield.
Yeah.
I think. I guess it started maybe a little bit in the previous volume. Um, maybe or maybe I'm making that up. Either way, we saw it pretty clearly
Uh,
here. They were fighting very efficiently and well alongside each other. And part of me, part of me wants to ship them. Um, but if I ship them for that reason, then I also gotta ship Mina and Soshiro. But I don't want to do that.
No, yeah. I can't yet.
Not
You
yeah.
know,
Maybe it's premature.
I want to honestly, I kind of ship Hoshina and the I don't know her name. I forget her name, but she's has glasses and seems to be like a receptionist. I don't know, receptionist.
Yeah, or
That's definitely
like
not the
the
right word.
girl who or woman who like reports or like sends the different like information stuff during the battle.
Right, right.
Yeah, her name is Konomi Okonogi.
That's right. Okonogi. That's right.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, they seem to get along pretty well, and of course, that doesn't automatically mean relationship, but it does mean shipping fuel. So I I don't
Yeah,
know. Like
yeah.
that's something that I uh could see being a thing. More so her having feelings for him versus the other way around. But who knows? Anyway, but But this is about Kikoru.
Actually, though, sorry before you go on to more about her, I just wanted to say, since we were talking about Konomi Okonogi, there was a little character page for her between two of the chapters here, and
Oh yeah.
it it always says what they like things they like, and I loved the combination of things that Okonogi likes. It's math, mysteries, karaoke, and bear merchandise.
Bear merchandise?
Yeah.
Man, she should go to Hokkaido. She should love it there.
Oh.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah, Kikoru.
I'm not sure what Kikoru's thoughts on bear merchandise are. We'll have to ask her that later. But no, I like her in combat here, coming in clutch to take down the legs of the giant Kaiju number 10. That was really cool. And yeah, just continuing on with her awesome axe skills. I mean, that axe is a keeper.
Absolutely, and very fitting of her.
Yeah.
For her. Did we know before this volume that her mother was killed by kaiju? I can't remember if we did know that. I don't yeah. I don't think we knew that, or at least I definitely don't remember having heard that. Either way, I think it's interesting to know, because I remember I believe back in volume like 1 or so, I thought that her choice to slay kaiju for a hobby, which she did before she joined the Defense Force, I thought that was a little bit sad potentially, because early on I viewed it as her, well, in some way being brainwashed / manipulated by her father to want to do that type of stuff. So I felt like her having that as a hobby was kind of a sad thing. And sure, maybe that's still the case. I guess I don't know everything about her, but after having learned this, that her mother was killed by kaiju, I feel like there exists a stronger possibility of her having chosen that hobby for herself, and for that to be more of a personal thing for her that she chose. So
yeah.
I was happy that we got that information.
Yeah, for sure. I think I remember it being a reveal that her mother was killed by kaiju.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think for that to be here.
But now we're getting to really know her daddy.
Yeah.
And clearly their relationship is not great.
Yeah. That was honestly very upsetting.
Yeah. It's interesting that Kikoru is there during the whole thing, though. The whole thing being Kafka's kind of interrogation.
Oh yeah, right, exactly. Exactly.
So I guess perks of being the daughter of the head guy.
Precisely.
But don't know if she'll have anything to do going forward other than watching.
Yeah. I'll get into some predictions at the end of this. I think a little bit tied to this by the end of the episode here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Something that the physical books do that I really like a lot, or at least the last 2 volumes have done this. Can't remember about volume 1 and 2, but at least volumes 3 and 4 have had like a couple pages, like at the very beginning of the volume when you open it up. There's a couple of colored pages.
Okay.
And they, like, the first 3 or so pages are just page-sized images, like pieces of artwork, of, well, characters or places from the series. And there was one image in particular here, the second image in this volume. It's of Kafka and Kikoru just looking down at the ground, and like they're where they spotted like a tiny little kaiju, which is like underneath the plants, or it's like the same. It's like, I guess it's about the size of the grass. Like it's a very tiny little kaiju, which I thought was just funny. I mean, it's cute, I guess. Well, the kaiju is actually kind of disgusting looking, but
oh, I know what it is. Yeah. I have it here.
Okay, you have the image?
For some reason, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so
it's kind of a cool looking thing.
It is cool, but I also, like, it's so funny to me that we talked a little bit about this last time, about the size of these creatures that are referred to as kaijus in this series, that they are like human sized a lot of the time, whereas that's definitely not what I would have in my head considered a kaiju before. But here we see something even tinier than that. Like it's like yeah, like mushroom sized.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, in the context of the story, like that's got to be a kaiju, of some kind. So it's funny. Anyway, that's probably all I had on Kikoru. Although that last thing wasn't really tied to her that very much. Anyway, do you have anything else on Kikoru?
No.
Okay, then let's talk next about Soshiro Hoshina.
The MVP of this volume.
Yeah, I believe so. Or
I mean, Mina does come in clutch. Obviously, she's the killer in the end. But without Hoshina, it's not possible.
yeah, and you could also argue for Kafka, since he actually punched the whole
true.
thing away.
Yeah. Okay.
although I do think Soshiro absolutely is a fair candidate for that.
All right, they tag team.
Yeah. No, but yeah, he yeah, that entire like first half or so, roughly, of the volume, or maybe actually more than that, or anyway, roughly the first half. Yeah, that was incredible. There were several points during his battle with Kaiju number 10 where I thought that, oh shit, he's gonna die. Which I kind of enjoyed. And there were even also a few times where I found myself kind of hoping that he would die in that battle, only because I thought a loss like that would be interesting, I guess, for the remaining characters.
Yeah.
And to see,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, to see kind of how they would deal with that and how that would affect the story at large. Because I feel like up until this volume, I didn't feel like a lot of the action pieces had really left us with a lot of consequence, kind of. So I was thinking, since I mean, it seemed like Matsumoto, when he drew and write this, I'm sure he wanted the readers to think that Soshiro would die in that battle, and I fell for it. I thought at a couple times that he would, and during the times when it looked like he wouldn't, I was still kind of hoping that he would. That said, though, even though he didn't die, I was still left satisfied with that battle, since it was there was still consequence in there, with the, as we talked, Kafka's identity as a kaiju was revealed, so big things still happened, so I'm still happy. But yeah, it was a great battle.
I agree, and I love kind of the backstory that we get. It's only a little bit, but what drives him and his love for the blade, or dedication to the blade, and I like how he just kind of sticks to his blade and understands, like, that's what I'm good at, and I'm gonna be the best at that.
Exactly. Yeah, even though everyone throughout most of his life just told him to quit.
Right.
Yeah, it's awesome that he stuck with it.
And that's what made the whole Mina and him dynamic so interesting, because she was the one to be his first believer, really.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Which is surprising. That's something I expected, but it just gives their character, their relationship, a really good boost.
Definitely did. Yeah, I really like that. By the way, those flying Yoju who became like living missiles to attack Soshiro at that one point, he said that it's just that kind of cold-blooded attack that he expects from a kaiju. Does he not know that humans have been known to do the same thing in history? Like, I don't know. For me, like, the kamikaze pilots during World War II come to mind.
Yeah.
And it's like literally that.
I thought about that.
And that's human tactics. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's dreadful, but
I don't know if it's commentary against that tactic.
Honestly, I could see that. I could see that.
Or if it was just kind of absent-mindedness on the writer's part. Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah,
but I like how he has some pretty good one-liners. I'll defend it to the end, meaning the base and squad, especially since he was the vice captain and
Right.
placed in his hands. And that's the only thing that proves I exist. Which in one part it's kind of sad, but also, but if you think of it a positive way, it shows that he knows what he's good at and wants to take pride in what he's good at.
That is fair.
So he did, yeah. So anyway,
yeah,
just some really nice things from him.
Right, yeah, about that last part, because when I read it, I was kind of like, no, dude, you shouldn't think about it that way, like. But yeah, I guess the fact that he does take pride in it, and that you could interpret it that way, I guess that makes it a little bit nicer.
I definitely interpreted both ways, I'm not sure what he was trying to imply, but I could see it going either way.
Precisely, yeah, for sure. So do you got anything else on Soshiro?
No, but I mean, I guess just that apparently he expected something wrong, or something was up with Kafka.
Right, but I think that much was clear.
Right, and I don't think that he's gonna be one to freak out about this. I think he's just as supportive as everyone else in Squad 3.
I think so too.
Because he knows Kafka.
Right. Plus, I believe Mina told Kafka that everyone in Division 3 supported him or something like that. So that would include him.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says, in the 3rd Division, not a single person considers you a kaiju threat. So that's awesome. Oh, I love that. That warmed my heart when she said that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Next, let's talk about... let's talk about Isao Shinomiya. Screw this douchebag. My gosh. Like his scene with his daughter especially upset me. And then obviously the way he treats Kafka is super unpleasant also, but my gosh.
Like, yeah, even the people he's supposed to love he treats as just dirt, It's not great.
Right. Like, I wonder, I mean, clearly he's very powerful. And made me wonder if he might be able to utilize 100% of his combat suit's power.
Oh, man.
Like, I don't know. Because at least, just the fact that he is incredibly powerful and...
the strongest force member they had ever seen.
Right, at least, when he...
at the time.
Was younger, and I don't know, he still seems incredibly powerful. And how he considers his daughter, who is a very, very, very talented person when it comes to these sorts of things, he considers her a failure. And like, it was when he said that, because she is like a prodigy when it comes to these things, but he considers her a failure, makes me feel like that his capabilities are just outrageously high, probably, and that's why he puts that kind of those expectations on his daughter. But since she isn't, I guess, close enough to those expectations, he considers her a failure.
Boo.
Like, oh, you can't utilize 100% of your combat's power. You're a failure.
Get good.
Yeah, right.
Honey, I'm very disappointed in you. You only can go at 98%. Oh, actually, no. She's not quite there yet, but still.
Yeah, no, I mean,
by your age, I could lift anyway.
Yeah.
I thought it was very manipulative of him to mention the death of her mother, and there was to kaiju.
Yeah.
It's like, man, do you think she would have forgotten that? Like, come on.
Right.
So he's not looking great. Definitely a somewhat stereotypical military, tough, hard, strict by the rules guy. I can tell you I've dealt with those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely not pleasant right now.
No.
For sure.
According to Kafka, he emitted the aura of a Daikaiju.
Yeah. That was pretty boss.
Yeah. I assume that was because he had those like the suit and the arms from the Kaiju number 2 that he emitted that aura, but but before I understood that, I was like, wait, what's up with this guy? But yeah, no, I feel like it's got to be that, right?
Well, it's that, and that he's exerting probably a certain percentage that it makes it feel like there's actually a kaiju
Mm.
in the room.
And yeah, man, yeah, if I'm gonna like take a guess at any number of the percentage that he draws from the suit, I'm gonna say 100, because it's got to be crazy. He's crazy.
Yeah. Too crazy.
Hmm. My last thing here, although this isn't exactly on his character, but this was the best place I could put it, is something that we learned from one of the guys working for him about there being a certain country that's experimenting with kaiju to human tissue transplants. Somewhere in this world, there is a country that does that.
Right. Yeah.
And that was also interesting, obviously, in regards to Kafka's situation and the kaiju who went inside of him and all of those things. I feel like there's no way we're not gonna get more information on that eventually. This was probably just like an early little vague little hint that was dropped for something much bigger.
Right. Yeah, could that little kaiju have been invented by that enemy state?
Precise. Yeah, right. Could be something like that, maybe.
Or is it just some other phenomena? We shall see.
We shall.
Last thing I'll say about Shinomiya Isao is that I mentioned that he's kind of being manipulative to his daughter, mentioning the death of his wife. But I also think it shows that he holds a grudge against kaiju.
Oh yeah. True.
Pretty deeply for killing his wife. So I'm sure, well, not sure, but perhaps when he was younger and his wife was alive, maybe he wasn't such a jerk. But since then, maybe he's become much more close-minded and revenge-filled, potentially.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely. Well then, is there any other character you want to talk about?
So Kaiju number 10, he turned giant. So you got what you wanted, right?
Yes.
You got a giant kaiju.
yeah, exactly. I mean, we have seen giant ones, but seeing a humanoid-sized one grow into a big one, is promising for the idea of Kafka doing the same thing eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? It's interesting, when he went on the battlefield, they mentioned like, oh, there's another giant kaiju or something like that. And I thought, I was like, wait, is he going to become giant? But no, he's still the same size. It's like, okay.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, dude, I didn't even think about that. So when Kaiju number 10 grew in size, it's I can't remember the word, but like the threat level or whatever, like that number increased.
Yeah, like to 9 point something or other.
Yeah, or 9.0, I believe.
Or was it just 9?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. And was Kafka 9.8 or something?
Yeah.
It was 9.8.
Kafka's Kaiju is 9.8. So the fact that that number grew as Kaiju number 10 grew in size should mean that if Kafka's Kaiju could grow also, like,
oh man,
how much is that threat level number or power level number gonna increase?
Jeez.
Because he's already more powerful in his humanoid size.
Where's Godzilla on this scale? I would like.
Yeah, that would be fun to know.
Comparison point.
Yeah, my God. Wouldn't it be pretty cool if like Godzilla is Kaiju number 1 or something like that?
Oh, that'd be a cool reference. I like that.
That would be cool. Like back in the 50s was Kaiju number 1, because we know in the 70s was when Kaiju number 2 appeared. So it's possible.
Yeah.
That would be pretty neat.
But going back to Kaiju number 10,
yes,
there's just one thing about his design, those eyes all over the body, especially that one scene where they think they have him, but he's like, "God, I could see you."
Yeah,
like, very creepy.
I love that. Yeah, I also loved how he really enjoyed that, like the rivalry with Soshiro that he had there. He was really into that.
Yeah.
Almost kind of cute.
It kind of came and went. Like, you know, Kaiju number 9 is still about, but it seems like Kaiju number 10 has bit the dust.
Yeah. Which I actually kind of expected. I didn't think he would stick around for as long. Still, yeah, we didn't get anything for number 9 though in this volume, other than just a brief mention. So hopefully we'll get some content on him in the next volume.
Last character I want to mention is just Ichikawa.
Mm.
He mentions to Kafka in the very beginning, have faith in your squad. You have good members behind you, and he does for a bit, but then obviously he reveals his secret. But even then, his squad has his back. So it goes to show that it's good to place your trust and faith in people that have your back, that you can believe in. Sometimes it's hard to find those people, but
yeah,
he's definitely found them there.
So true. I love that.
Ichikawa is such a bro. I have faith. Like what a guy.
Yeah, I love how that came back in a way that one wouldn't necessarily have expected. The way that having faith in one's team.
Yeah.
How it came back right then, like after the whole battle and everything. It was beautiful, I thought.
Yeah, it was.
So let's get into the final stretch. So starting with some of the predictions, and since we were just talking about Reno Ichikawa, I've been thinking a little bit about what to make of the fact that the third division is now supposedly going to get split across other defense force divisions. And I don't know, this specific little thread I haven't exactly been able to come up with too many predictions for, other than I guess this opens up the possibility for the story to have like multiple parallel plots taking place, simultaneously in different locations. That could be interesting, obviously, depending on how it's done. But I don't know. I also imagine it could introduce us to some new characters in these other divisions where some of these characters will spend their time.
That could be interesting. Is this like the training arc? Is that what we're going?
Actually, for some reason I hadn't considered that, but I guess that's possible. At least for some of these guys.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe. But about, I guess, the more immediate events in the story right now, I think it's very likely that they'll somehow find a way to prove Kafka's humanity.
Love will find a way.
Like somehow they'll find a way. I believe in the next volume. Even if they manage to just like, if it's just a stretch, like maybe it's not gonna be super clear, but maybe it'll be kind of far fetched. I think it's still quite possible that they'll find this way, because something like that I think is necessary. Like some kind of proof is going to be necessary for Isao to agree to let Kafka go. If they can't prove his humanity in any way at all, then it's kind of screwed. That's like, I guess, my main prediction for this. My alternative prediction is that if they can't prove that Kafka is a human, and honestly, I believe this one might be more interesting. If they can't prove that he is a human, then it could be neat. And this is what ties in with Kikoru already being at the same location as Kafka.
All right.
That they would escape somehow.
Oh.
Kikoru and Kafka would escape and regroup with the rest of the third division.
Okay.
And the group, like the gang, the main characters, the third division essentially, would kind of go rogue or kind of become vigilantes in a sense, where they would be fighting both kaiju and this quote-unquote corrupted defense force at the same time. I think that could be kind of interesting, though. Maybe it's too wacky. I don't know. No, I don't know what would be too wacky. But But anyway, it's something that I think could be fun and could explain why Kikoru is there, because Kafka may need some help to get away, and it would also mean that this spreading out of the guys from the third division might not actually result in much. That they would all just kind of regroup as wanted criminals or something. If they did if something like this did happen, that everyone who believes in Kafka would just become lawless.
Mm.
But yeah, that was more like my alternate speculation there.
Okay, gotcha.
But that's it for my speculations, I believe.
Okay, I don't really have any questions I want to give. I think we covered most anything. I mean, we're in a very cliffhanger moment.
We really are, yeah.
I think we were kind of in a cliffhanger last time. You know, in the middle of a fight, middle of the start of the fight.
True.
But this one, like, you know, it's almost like we stopped mid episode.
Yeah, honestly.
At a stopping point.
Just pause the episode and just walk away for
I gotta go
several
pop some
months.
popcorn. Hold up. Yeah, several months.
Yeah. Yeah, and this episode is going to be our last Kaiju number 8 discussion of 2022.
Okay.
Next year, though, I guess we will very likely, pretty much guaranteed, catch up to where you were when you stopped reading, right?
Yeah. Guaranteed.
Guaranteed at some point next year. So that's really exciting. I think for the both of us.
Right.
You'll fully be able to join in on all the speculations without having to kind of stop yourself at any point.
Tiptoe around things.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Do you have any final words you want to share?
I just think about potential anime for this series and how I hope they do the action scenes justice because they're really cool. Like, I'm not, head over heels with the story. There's definitely some interesting characters. It's moving the plot along, especially now. But I think the action is just really top notch and something that I would enjoy watching. You know, kind of one of those popcorn movies, kind of a thing. I like that.
Imagine if this got the Demon Slayer treatment in terms of visuals.
Wow. Yeah. Oh man.
Imagine.
I would love that.
Me too.
That'd be so smooth. Yeah.
That would be pretty awesome.
I wonder what studio would pick it up.
Yeah. I don't have no clue. Yeah. Excited to see that eventually. But with that all said, I guess that's it for this week.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy our content, you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga, and it would be lovely if you'd like to support us by rating our show on the podcast platforms and subscribing to our channel, Umami Manga, on YouTube. If you like this episode, please share it with anyone you think might enjoy it too. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about Volume 5. Bye-bye!
See you later!
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.